Greetings, everyone.
Hello,
Welcome
Showtime.
back. So lovely to see you all here. And we're all sweatered up because we're literally buried in a foot of snow right now. We're on the coast, and it's a place where the snow, heavy snowfall is not super common here in the winter. Most people don't have snow tires. And so it's just like everything gets totally shut down when we have an extreme snowfall. And hi, Taro by Lupo, Adele, Angela, Suzanne, Cece. Wow.
Welcome, everyone. And
Welcome.
already such incredible questions rolling in. Super excited to be here.
And, Taro by Lupo. So hope we're all doing good. Well, we had a big kind of intense day yesterday. Nothing like super extreme in terms of crises, but more like internal intensity and a little bit of a rupture. And then Crystal last night happened to tune in with an astrologer that she follows sometimes. And they were basically saying, oh yeah, just don't even get out of bed on Monday. Like there's all these challenging conflicts with Pluto and this and that and la la la. And we're like, oh gosh.
It said, don't have big conversations. We were like, ooh.
Right. Oopsie, we missed that memo.
Yeah.
That's what happened. We should have just laid in
We
bed
should
all
have
day.
just cuddled up and gotten cozy and,
yeah, right.
hung out.
Read a book and play a game. And anyway, it's just the real acknowledgement of because and I think we were identifying because we're demanding so much of ourselves and our lives and our frequency and upgrading and staying really present and on task and in alignment and integrity. It's so much to try to be productive and forward thinking and self-actualizing amidst all of the healing and the transmutation. So hence why it's absolutely like, even for us, we still get caught unawares where, oh, it would have been really nice. Like I should have been watching Meg's shows this week. Even though I did see some stuff in the forecast for the week, it's like a combination effort of, pulling a card every day.
Yeah.
And just tuning in so that you get a little bit of a heads up. Oh, maybe this isn't a good day to expect to do all of these other things, right? Like maybe best laid plans kind of. So we just wanted to share that. Do you have anything to add to that, Crystal?
I mean, it just felt like in our like go society, in our reality, to how are we making space for self-care? How are we making space for space? And what does the wiggle look like on that when you think that you need to have a certain amount of productivity, but if you're both feeling edgy in it or you're feeling edgy in yourself, well, where do you wiggle to, and how can you be like, okay, here's a space where we can't focus on this right now. Let's honor ourselves in that, because we're going to be. And then we woke up today, we were like, whoa, let's get to productivity.
That felt totally different today. And that's what was said. So just maybe we can share the wisdom of what was said. Basically, it was that today and tomorrow are going to be more productive and more positive energy. And then I think Thursday and Friday and the weekend were a bit more like dreamy and
a little bit like self-indulgent, pleasureful, spicy even Friday. And then Saturday was good visioning, actually, like forward thinking again. So it also said that today was good for like getting a lottery ticket or doing something that was like kind of like focusing
luck.
on
luck, expansion and luck, a good Jupiter aspect. So we'll share that little bit with you. And awesome questions already showing up. And I love how there's like a bit of a theme.
Yes.
So we're going to start off with something kind of more in the practical realm, in the financial realm. A great question about XRP, and lots of people are asking about this. So let's begin with that.
And I've already cleared the cards today, so we'll start by shuffling a bit here, tuning in. Thank you, Cece, for your question. And the cards are alive today. Okay.
I'm just going to put up a couple more messages here. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Best community. We feel the same way.
We totally do. We totally do. And, you know, it's just so encouraging. I mean, I don't want to say that people's struggles are encouraging, but knowing that we all go through these struggles is very, to me, it's comforting that we all go through them and then we all find our ways through them, and how we return to, you know, not carrying a lot of the leftover energy of those struggles, like letting things go, you know,
and really like honoring what you learned through them. Like we quite often will have time to come back together and be like, it would have been wonderful if it went this way or that way. And then I actually really made notes this time on what came through, what I learned, and how I can take that forward into my life. So it's not necessarily not having ruptures, it's what you do with those ruptures and how you take that and they'll move forward with the lessons from it. So
totally
beautiful. Here we go. XRP. Woo woo on the bottom. Okay.
Wow. Here
this.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm going to get them laid out and then I'll move them around as per usual so that everyone can see them. Let's bring that screen bigger.
Bigger, yeah, totally. We'll do that.
I would like to actually pull the top and bottom here because I noticed that this fella was on the bottom. So
great.
I feel like that has something to do with it. You go ahead and speak to it quickly here and I'll
what I'm starting with noticing is that we've got 2 3s and 2 4s, right?
Nice,
we've got this 3 here, the 3 of Wands and the 3 of Pentacles. We've got 2 4s, like our Emperor is the number 4 of the major arcana, and we've also got a 4 here, 4 of the Wands, 4 of Wands. Oh, and look, we got 2 7s.
We also have 4 major arcana.
So right away, it's like doubles of all these numbers. So 2 3s, it's mastering the ability to stay in, like not having all your eggs in one basket. 3 is synergy, right? It's like things working together. So you're maybe trading and upgrading, but overall, this is a positive card for building, gradual building, that's win-win-win. So it feels like there's stability coming, there is up leveling, but it's not that kind of like,
it does look like there could possibly be a drop in it, but kind of middle, but end of February, maybe beginning of March or something, like middle ground, there may be a bit of a drop.
And then in 3 months it starts building again, and then it actually is exponentially growing, not at like an extreme rate, but at a I don't know, I'm getting almost like
a healthy pace.
Healthy. 30% every, well, it could actually be 30% every quarter is what I'm hearing. Or every 3 times a year it expands 30%. So we might see, it might be March and April before we see it building up again. Like Crystal said, it might go through a little bit of a drop, but that gives you an opportunity to move things around or change your or buy in, right? It gives people an opportunity to buy in, and the buying in is going to actually increase the value down the road. So it's there. I love also that
it does look like a good one to hold on to and like definitely keep some value in there.
Like almost like you're holding on to 70% and maybe moving around
the 40,
the 30.
Math.
Cute. Okay. So I feel like that is pretty good. I mean, we are seeing this because these 2 3 major arcana here, it's like what we're actually doing, and I say this about all the currencies, is it's not just about your personal strategy to build wealth and security in challenging times. This is about us holding solidarity in these currency communities that are about transitioning away from the old system. So, I always say I remember watching an interview with, an early Bitcoin founder, and they said it doesn't matter if this goes to zero. I'm in this because it's about me trading with the people that I have developed a community of traders with. So can we see this as actually the most important thing isn't about how rich you get, how quick. It's about, this is something that's going to stabilize and be part of a transition away from that old model. And you'll be rich among the people who also hold this currency and are happy to trade in it. So thinking about that, right? It's 2 sevens, a very spiritual kind of approach
frequency to it. Yeah, which also is
well, you XRP is my favorite.
Yes, Janice XRP is my favorite. And LMB had shared I would get some XRP if my husband was on board. I'm trusting we'll be okay that with what we have.
Belief is powerful.
And it totally is. And it does look like also with what we were getting there, with it being a community building, like even if you just put a little bit into it and communicate that it's like it's an investment in the frequency of the community that it's building.
Absolutely.
So it sometimes it's about how you approach it and what you're investing in.
Yeah, I'm really trusting with the cryptocurrency, and a little bit of a spoiler alert here, but we are looking at setting up crypto payment on our personal website. I'm really working with encouraging Beyond Mystic to jump on board and get that happening too, so that we can look at beginning to literally trade in these currencies. It's not just about trading them in for dollar value. It's actually about using them now as an exchange among our like-minded communities. So there we go.
Wonderful. Adele was next.
Yeah. So this is an interesting kind of turn in a new direction. However, it feels like, we had those 2 sevens with the currencies. And so it feels connected somehow that we're looking at when you're talking about benevolent Elohim, which, if for those of you that don't know, the Elohim is basically the term given to the gods in the Hebrew and Kabbalistic traditions. And we know that it's a mixed bag of controversy, because we are aware that there has been a lot of, let's just say, dark force energy channeled into those systems. And what I'm hearing you ask, Adele, is there something benevolent there? And is it ultimately to help us evolve in love and light?
And we're a pretty evolved group here, but benevolent are the good high frequency forces.
Totally. So
be helpful.
There we go. I think it's that one.
Okay, here we are. Let's see here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, beautiful. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh my goodness.
My. Okay.
Wow. So it's going to be a trick or a challenge to tease out which is which, right? It's always the discernment is a tricky thing. But I think the conversations are about us learning more about this history, which is part of all of our history on this planet. And that it is, there's a return of the beneficial, because the Ace of Pentacles is a gift, a reward, a sudden turn of events, right? So it's been hijacked here maybe for 7,000 years, right? 7 of Cups in the past. And now, like, I want to say almost like the benevolent, beneficial version of this is coming back with full force now, and to break down the hijacked version.
And I feel like helping humanity grow and evolve in light and love. I mean, what does growth and evolution look like? Sometimes it looks like the tearing down and letting a lot go. So this tower card could look scary sometimes, but especially coming up with the Wheel of Fortune, like, woo, we don't know what we're going to get here. And yet when we trust in that it is the benevolent beings and calling in that frequency, and trusting that the healing can also look like some of those ruptures and some of those teardowns, and during those times calling in that beautiful high frequency love, heart-centered, benevolent assistance.
Yeah, beautiful, Crystal.
Because it's a lot about using our words, right, to spell cast and call in the gift that they offer.
Yeah, well, that's interesting you say that, Crystal, because the Elohim energy and the Kabbalistic tradition is all about word spells. And so I think we are looking at, breakdown to breakthrough here. And even that we've gone from this 7 of Cups, which creates a lot of, let's just say there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. This is like, confusion and distortion. And then we're going to the 6 of Cups, which comes back to harmony and innocence, right? The inner child energy, the sweetness. Yeah, so
beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Definitely.
So it definitely looks like there is beautiful, benevolent energy that is here to support us. And before
you go with that, I just want to even say, like, we might see some more of a battle between light and dark, but it's beautiful in a way that it plays out more externally so that we can see it and observe. And like Crystal said, know that there might need to be more upsetting revelations. We're all like, are you kidding? Can we handle any more of that? But maybe it's just more background and history and controversial. Like, I think even within the religious traditions, there's going to be some heated debates coming up here, because a lot of stuff is being brought out, and there's going to be like a sort of information wars is what I'm getting, right? Because the magician is information, and this is like information wars. And it could be hard to sort all that out, but just know that within a couple of years, it's going to like sort of the true essence will rise out of the chaos of all this like information war stuff that's potentially going to happen.
Beautiful.
Yeah, hopefully.
Love it.
Hopefully. I mean, that's basically what we've been seeing, right?
Here's hoping, y'all.
Okay, so Angela's question really ties in with this in a way, because it's about the veils being lifted and remembering our past lives and our past gifts, languages, instruments played, etc. And so, yeah,
you shuffle to start on that, and then I'll cut it
up.
Thank you.
Yeah, so interesting, huh? I just heard our collective guides saying something about, start by acknowledging what you care about. It's like, you go ahead and shuffle, Crystal. I'm kind of channeling here. It's like we often say, it's sort of like going into a shop and saying, I know what I like, and I'm going to look around and I'm going to choose a couple of things that I like, or going in and saying, I'll choose a mystery bag and just take what I get. And so it feels like we draw in more authentic, energetic gifts, languages, memories, if we already are engaged with our desire. If we are just randomly going, I don't know anything, show me what my gifts are, like, I don't know, like, we have to kind of prime the pump a bit with our own desire. Like, what do I love? Like, what if I had to choose? I often say we can, through our desire body, which is very wise. It's not just this random ego thing. We can actually create a beautiful life. Ooh,
interesting.
Maybe we start with those on the top. Yeah, let that be the top.
That doesn't happen very often, but here we are. Interesting.
See, kind of what I was just saying. Like, we call it in based on what we want. So the message here is, yeah, you've been told, I don't know what I want, and sorry, that's kind of fierce because this is 8 of Swords and the 5 of Cups. We've been conditioned to think we're ignorant, and the creator knows better, the psychic knows better, like we got to wait to be told what our gifts are and what our like what languages we could learn easily or could come back to us easily. And it feels like we lift the veils by connecting with our own desires. And the more we can authentically connect, it's like the memories start to come. Like you go, I have some sort of stories about this in my own experience with different things that I've been interested. And often I'll go and engage with those things, and suddenly it'll be like almost as though I've got like a red carpet, like welcome, it's like, oh, I ended up meeting the best expert, like just by random, like I found the very best person in that whole field to be my mentor, or I tried a skill that I've always been interested in, and suddenly I could just do it really well. Then you're in line with your desire body. And this feels to me like the biggest unfortunate thing is that we're out of touch with our true desires.
Mm-hmm. And speaking into that, I'm really seeing that where we get into touch with that is stepping out of the control of our mind, stepping into the heart and using our hands, creativity, like especially with the star and the sun being there, like creativity, and getting out into the garden, getting your hands into the earth, creating earth offerings, so crafting things that get offered to the earth, something like how you said here, language is spoken and instruments played, things that are like that we create, and channel that creativity rather than keeping it so much in the mind.
And
what are we bringing into our body?
It also feels important that we don't get discouraged if it doesn't line up right away, right? Like, so how do I want to say this? It's like sometimes the things that you love and you think you start learning them and you think, oh, I'm not very good at that, or I'm trying to learn a language, I'm not very good at that. It's like, does that mean that you read your desire body wrong? Or does that mean that it's going to grow and evolve with time, and at the right moment, it'll just spring to life? Mm-hmm. So I think it's really about us seeing that we've been doing this all along, and that we're getting better at trusting the process, basically, because we actually, the veils lift every day, is what the guides are saying. They lift, and we are awakened and kind of invited often, and we close it down. We go, no, I can't, I'm not good at that, or I'm waiting for a message from the spirits, like that's just my mind saying I'd like to learn that. I because it's almost like they're saying once you engage and start to enjoy, right, you start to love this, whatever it is that you're doing, that's when the past life memories can start flooding in. Yeah. It's like, next thing you know, you're like, oh, suddenly I'm doing this and I remember things. I feel like I've done this before. I remember hearing a story. I wonder if it was in the Anastasia, the Renee Cedar series, but it was talking about a man that was interesting. Crystal was talking about being in nature. And he had a farm, he bought a farm or something, and he was going to like plow the field, and he had his regular equipment, and he was out there, getting ready to like do the farming thing in the modern way. And he heard this kind of almost like a message that was like, just maybe take a percentage of the field and do it the old way, like learn how your ancient ancestors did it. Literally make your own plow, make it out of wood or whatever, and do beautiful, carvings on it, and make it beautiful and do it ceremonially. He sort of heard that. And so he went ahead and did that. slowly, right? Like he was kind of like, oh, I don't know. It's like, oh, I don't know if I'll be very good at this. But over like a decade, over like, 8 to 10 years, like phenomenal things started happening. He started like, it was like he said one time, I'm getting the chills while I'm saying, he said one time he looked down at his hands and he saw another man's hands on the plow. And he was like, whoa. And it just flashed and was there for a couple, like few seconds, and then they were gone. And he was like, I just saw someone else's hands. And then he felt the chills through his body. And it was like, I'm remembering either a past life or one of my ancestors is coming through me. And he was like, I know how, like he was remembering how to work with this technology. He was like, I just know how to do it all of a sudden. Like I know what I should do, what I shouldn't do, how I should. And he said it was so supernatural and extraordinary, but you'd notice the chain of events. It started with he was already put himself in that place because he was drawn to farming. He was already engaging in it. And then he had this little whisper from his, higher self from the other side of the veil saying, hey, don't you want to maybe try it the old way? And then, so same with things like art, music, languages, like, get in there, be patient with it. If you love it, there's something there.
Yeah, it feels to me, I keep hearing, start where you are. You already have 80% of the tools that you need.
Right.
Yeah. With those 8s in there and these 2 1s, just like you're already there. It's already begun. Start where you are. You've already got 80% of your tools on the table.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Get out of our own way.
Yeah. And get into our way. Get out of our way and get into our way. It's like everybody's got a different way. You've got, and this is something I do in the ancestral healing as well, is like, I say there's times where certain ancestors are going to come through because that's what's in the flow for you right now. And then that part will shut down and someone else will come through, or another past life will come through because that's relevant right now. So get curious about where your desires are and what you love and what you would love to do more of. And then get really curious about the things that you just can't stop wanting to learn. Because that gives you an indication of, spirit's going, come on, I'm going to lift a veil here. Yeah, beautiful.
Okay, so Suzanne had this question, but then she was like, wait a minute, maybe I want this one instead. So let's go down here. If you prefer to skip the first one, try this one. Is the hair a major antenna? Yeah, I want that one. I'm a hairstylist. I'm like, ooh, hair, let's talk about that. Is the hair a major antenna that we should all grow it like the samurais with no toxins in it, like bleach that kills it? Oh,
okay. I'm excited. Let's do this. Crystal, you start the shuffle.
I'm going to shuffle it. Well, we're really seeing, I can talk about hair trends a lot with where I've been in the last 15 years of hairdressing. We're really seeing an embracement, particularly with women, of going back to their natural colors, not coloring anymore. I'm assisting a lot of people in growing out and matching their natural color so that they can be more natural. And also, just allowing it to have sort of a life of its own, less styling. Go ahead.
You know what? I think this one's yours.
It's all me. Yeah.
And it is an antenna for sure. I mean, just check this out, right?
It's a wild one. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's been very, wow. Yeah, there's a whole ancient mystery tradition with hair. And a lot of cultures, we've actually learned a bit about this, haven't we, Crystal? And a lot of cultures have worked with hair ceremonially. You'll see a lot of cultures, like when someone dies, they'll cut their hair and they'll put the hair in with the deceased person. Like, those are ancient traditions in many cultures, not just one or two. A lot of them have that. That hair was sacred, that you didn't cut it. It was where your magic, your power, your intuition. We see this in a lot of ancient stories about the power of the hair, the power of the samurai. It's like that. Then even that hair was something very intimate, right? It's a lot of cultures, you were only allowed to wear your hair down in front of your most intimate partner. Right. And then when you came of age sexually, especially for women, that the hair was covered after that. And there's just so many traditions around it. And what I feel it's saying, in essence, is that we've kind of gone materialist, superficial with hair, and we need to get back to the ancient instinctual knowledge that hair is ritually very potent.
Yeah, I definitely feel like with this Eight of Wands here, it is an absolute antenna. That is that energy frequency card. So there's definitely energy coming through our hair. And as Mom says, all the traditions with it, we haven't been honoring that in a lot of our Western culture. And I think that it's actually energetically draining us. We're in the burnout stage with it, when what we could be doing with it, and particularly I think we've got a couple more years to figure this out, but what we could be doing with it is being much more intentional if we are cutting it, to be taking that cutting and what we're taking off and offering it as value to our ancestors, or doing something intentional with the hair that we take off, because there is value in that, and something about how we're dealing with that. I mean, I've thought about that all throughout the years. Like, what am I doing with all this hair that I'm sweeping up? And for many years, my salon was a green circle salon, and it got specific, it got sent in, and it had very specific usage with it, where it was going into good intent. But I also offered to anybody, like, I can pick this up, I can bag this up for you, and you can take your hair with you. And I had clientele that had a lot of awareness and would come to me to have their hair trimmed in a specific way with intention, and then collected and given to them. So but there's no harm in asking for that, right?
Just chilled all over.
Like, when you cut my hair, I would like to take that with me. Don't just throw that out, right? So it's baby
you're going to
steps
bury it in your
to,
garden, like it
yes.
will. Well, and I mean, if it's toxic, right? If it's filled with, and mine is, to some extent, I use a natural, but still, right? Bleach. And if there's a toxicity in there, it's like, yeah, it's sort of like, this is toxic waste that you're producing. So how are you caring for that? How are you taking responsibility for that? Very interesting.
Use natural tinting.
Let's go to Suzanne's comment there. Well, where does it go?
Scary. No, it's sorry, y'all, give us a moment.
Yeah.
Something happened 6 months ago. I was trying to go up a little bit to see. I had a download about 5 years ago and cut my bleach hair off. It's been growing naturally ever since.
Wow,
yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So this is a beautiful conversation. And I mean, we've had these conversations a lot over the years, Crystal and I have gone with my natural gray for a period of time, and I will probably do that again. It's not just like an unconscious choice that I'm in right now. Yeah, so interesting.
And I mean, for me, I've been working with Aveda for my whole career, and in terms of like top-notch salon quality, that's kind of as natural as it gets for like what we can offer, sort of thing. But it's definitely encouraging those to move away from the coloring in general. Okay, so I've been feeling a lot more. I stopped coloring. Thanks, you guys. I stopped coloring my hair in 2020, then stopped cutting. But I do get a trim every so often. Yeah, the idea to take it with you is fascinating. Exactly, right? and that it's been feeling a lot more authentic and intuitive since.
Oh,
Wonderful.
and Adele is saying I use henna, which, you know, is
Yeah.
like, I mean, henna is such a spiritual ritual practice, right? It's actually like, it's supposed to give you spiritual protection, and it's a type of medicine that your body ingests and utilizes the medicine of henna.
Mhm.
So, wow.
Oh yeah. Something's coming
Something's
through.
coming through. This is a big thing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that question. What is
so we have there's
today?
a very big question about the accident with the
Yes.
Let's see.
This
there it
one
is.
here.
Yeah. So we're switching gears, really going all over the map today with our questions, but feels relevant and right on.
Absolutely.
A reading regarding the accident in Washington, D.C. between the plane and the helicopter. So we've actually not been paying a lot of, I haven't been. Have you been paying much attention?
We've been in some pretty deep family internal processes. Yeah. So we've kind of stepped a bit away from external gathering of intel. I mean, so we're going to look into it with you.
With completely fresh eyes of no preconceived. I haven't really gone down rabbit holes about this. So let's just see what comes through for us today for all of us. And
I did hear about the accident. I just didn't actually look into that. So thank you for bringing that up. Let's look into it. And blessings and prayers to all of the beings that were lost and injured.
I think it was everyone was killed.
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, there's all these speculations around, was this some kind of psyop or whatever? So it's like, let's just see what comes through right now. Oh, okay. So, okay, this was the one. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So this was the one, without knowing, I don't know what Janine's saying on Beyond Mystic. I haven't looked into any of this, but one of my instinctual feelings, because I noticed in my own news feed, it was just like, you know, all kinds of air traffic control, like plane crashes, planes lighting on fire, all this thing, like for about a 2-week period, this was sort of wedged right in the middle, this particular accident. And I was just seeing all this stuff. And I was like, okay, so either this is a, you know, like a special, whatever, like, or this is something is happening in the airline industry. And why is that? And right away, I went to, there's something going on with a transfer of power, or like something to do with a bit of a battle in transferring, like controlling, literally controlling the control in airports and with airline traffic and all that kind of stuff. Like I was getting a bit to do with electrical interference with transmitters and stuff like that. And I was also getting that there's something where it's about stopping all of this, you know, like the chemtrail sprays and all of the stuff that's been happening. And so those systems being brought to account, being brought to like the forefront, there's something wrong in these systems, and these, like, you know, a whole bunch of things happening in a row, indicating we're, you know, on one hand, our attention is being brought to those, what I'm hearing, it's almost like, you know, an institution. There's a lot of, like it's been a very controlled institution. However, it also feels like it can be about, you know, trying to control our feeling safe to travel. So I feel like both sides there's something going on here on both sides. Anything you're getting specifically from this, Crystal?
No, I think that you've covered it quite well. No, I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I'm noticing, I don't know what this is about exactly, but I'm noticing like the Sphinx is here and the Sphinx here. And I'm like, there's something about vying for control around the airwaves and also the airspace. And then maybe even into aerospace. So like there's something, there's a power struggle, even a little bit like East and West, or like something to do with the Middle East and Russia, or so. Yeah, it feels like it's there's a lot, like I look at this Wheel of Fortune card and it's like there's a lot of like the four corners. There's a bit of a lot of things going on here. And what we want is we want to keep, not to get psyched out and go, oh, great, and now it's never going to be safe to fly. And I guess we're, walking away from that, but to like keep pressure on to get more and more investigation. This is karmic justice. So keep going into this. And even if it takes a long time to get to the bottom of it is what I'm hearing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, great. So that's the general that I'm getting here about this. And yeah, I do feel there's political maneuvers, there's military maneuvers, and some of them are good. And there's also, as those things maneuver, it's sort of like at the chess game. And I think unfortunately, some people have been caught in the crossfire of that chess game. And what I'm hearing the guides say is that it could have been a lot worse, and that it's actually been quite minimal compared to how much power shifting is happening in those places. But we haven't heard the end of this. This is going to go on for quite some time in terms of, just really learning more about what's going on. Well, this is something we see often. So I feel like let's wrap up here with this final question, which is so cool. It's kind of like we've gone around quite a full circle here. And to close off with Electrical Girl, when it's time to cross over to the other side, should we avoid going to the white light? I'm wondering if it's a trap to be reprogrammed and then back to Earth to do it all over again. Okay, so lots of different research and historical, even mythological, spiritual traditions that have different versions of this. And so I'm going to just say personally a small thing about this. I'm not willing to look at anything to do with my transitioning out of this body as that there's permanent traps. Like I'm in the frequency, in the heart-centered frequency where, there will be challenges. This is common in most traditions where they say we go through tests, we go through, we have life reviews, we have integration of our experiences, we have, tests and challenges. But I don't believe that there's some sort of malevolent, once you go the wrong way, you're done. I think it's a degree of learning, and you're never making a completely disempowered choice that's going to take you to a place where there's no escape from. Now, if you feel like coming back to this earth is not something you want to do, right? So this is where it gets into a little bit of working with the desire body again. And interesting different traditions that I've studied over the years, and I've studied a lot of them, are we get to not come back once we've completed a certain degree of the evolutionary process. We evolve into something else that is no longer in this kind of physical form. And that if we say we don't want to, it slows that process down. It's almost like catch-22, right? You say, I don't want to come back. And then you're like, oh, that means I have to come back even more to get to the point where I do want to come back, but now I don't have to come back or something. So I get a little bit of a feeling it's like looking at, the gift of life from a different angle and going, wow, right? Yeah, like I do think that what I encourage you to do is to have some internal
design your journey.
Yeah, I've actually talked to people about I'm already talking about what I would like to do in my next life, and I have been for a while.
Me too. I would like to be a very well-loved outdoor farm cat or something like that. I'm a cat, and mom says, I don't know if you can come back as a cat. And I'm like, nope, doing it.
Right?
But who knows?
Right.
But that's been,
oh my gosh. And just for fun, just for giggles here, I have wanted for a while to come, and I channeled this. It was like one day I was meditating. I asked the question to some of my friends, what if you could design what you come back? And then I had all the different responses, and I did the exercise myself. And what I got was a man coming back as a man who's a surgeon, like literally working with, hands-on surgery, pretty high, like frequency ethical surgeon, and a race car driver. And I was like, well, that's just about as opposite of who I am this life as you could possibly get. So it felt kind of cool that it would be a bit of a balance, but it would still be really helping people, but in a much more like material way, because I do so much work in the ethereal this lifetime. So it would be very much like a kind of polarized version of my life this time. Now, it sounds like I'm just making fun of this, but I actually, like Crystal said, I feel we do have the opportunity to design our journey. And, can you stay in the frequency, electrical girl, of like, if either or, like I say, is it not either or and more? Is it not like either I come back or I don't come back, but maybe it's like I come back and I'm intending it to be this kind of a life, this kind of a frequency. It's not going to be doing it this way again, or maybe I am at the end of my evolutionary journey. I'm still going back to my home planet, Suzanne says. Yeah. And well, that's an interesting way of thinking too, because we don't know that a different density, different dimensional version of Earth is here. Right? It's just called something else. Like there's a lot of things that we're not aware of. And I think too, as one thing I want to encourage you to do is to not go into this with the sense of grief and fear, because there is no like, oh, I got tricked and gypped and I'm now for all eternity, stuck. Like that is the old paradigm. And interesting, I mean, we don't see white light here, but we do have two aces. And in the past, maybe it was what you're saying, like maybe it was a lot more of a determinant if you went to the white light or not. But I feel like we're coming to a place now where you can go either way.
By design,
you can go either way and get to the same destination. But if you're going in with fear, if you're heading into the crossover with fear, that's probably not the most ideal way of choosing. Like, maybe having some sort of design where you say, if I go to the white light, I want it to do these things for me, and I want to learn these lessons, and then I want to keep growing into these other parts. And if I don't go to the light, I want it to be this. Because it feels like, I don't get that we need to be told what to do with this. And that's part of the problem, is that we're waiting for we're waiting for the decision to be made outside of ourselves. And we can say, what about saying, as you're crossing, you're doing Ho'oponopono prayer a forgiveness and a gratitude prayer and a love prayer, and that you're saying, may whatever is in the design of the greater good of all beings be where I go. And that, you're going there with love and peace in your heart. And to me, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Hi, Janine. Aw.
Welcome, Janine. Thanks for
saying
sharing.
I'm going to explore the universe, meet extraterrestrial beings, and learn about them. Susan saying,
Ricky said.
No, I'm going to Susan now. If my grandma is there to reach out, that's where I'd be heading. She was the ultimate hope in humanity I've ever known.
Oh, beautiful.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You got chilled all over when you say that, Suzanne. Like, pick your avatar, pick like the beings that give you the most inspiration and say, that's where I'm headed. I'm literally chilled. My whole body is just chilling and vibrating and tingling. It's like, like, again, don't go with fear. Well, not don't, but let go of the fear that there's a wrong choice, because I don't think there's a right and a wrong choice, but there is a heart-centered, filled with gratitude and grace, and that you can design it. Look at this.
So designed.
The Seven of Swords, which is strategy, and the Magician, like, design your reality.
Yeah.
So,
and the wish fulfilled here, like when you design it, and then that choice to come back or go into, another direction, another dimension.
And I think, we've got a situation going on here right now in Western civilization, particularly, which is, a mixed blessing, right? Like never before, we are able to not be stuck on any particular religious dogmatic, like you have to do it this, don't, if you do that, you're going to hell, or if you do this, you're going to, all that. Like, well, most of us have let go of a lot of that very, I want to say, very, disciplinary way of going about things. But we've also lost the comfort that comes from having a sense of what you are going to do, right? I think for a lot of our ancestors, if they had their Catholic priests come in and say the last rites and all of these things, it's like that gave them a peace of mind and heart to transfer over. We don't have as much of that now. So we have to create our own version of that, right? Like, this is the time. There's no time like now to basically say, I'm going to design, like, who am I inspired by? And like, I love the extraterrestrial beings and home planet version, and apply what Janine says, like, I'm open to exploring these things, and or better, even something better than that, right? Like, I think that we are, we don't quite know just how good it could be. And if we put a lot of that Five of Cups energy in, like, I'm going in with fear, and I'm going in with, like, whatever you do, don't go to the white light, don't invoke Jesus, don't do this, don't do that. Or if you don't invoke Jesus, you're going to, all of that. Like, it's just so much. We've been hogtied with these narratives of fear. And it's most important that we start to develop. I really am coming to that place where I feel it's very individual for us to develop our own wisdom, cosmology of spiritual avatars, mentors, loved ones, and go towards them. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you, everyone. Before we sign off here, we have some exciting launches coming up, as Mom mentioned. So if you are not subscribed to our emailing list on our website, please do head over there and do so now, because we have some exciting things coming out.
Yeah, in the next couple of days.
In the next couple of days and over this month. So we will not inundate you continuously, but please do sign up and watch for that, because we're really looking forward to connecting further on deeper personal levels as well. So blessings to you all this week.
Have a beautiful week, everyone. We'll see you here next week.
Yeah. Thank you.